As skippers, how has your perspective on the race changed since you left London?
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. How has the perspective changed? 9 months, it's a long time. You could have a baby in that time. It's getting to the point where it actually feels longer than that. In the beginning, we always picked San Francisco as a turning point and thought it would get easier from there. I find it getting tougher because we're that big. We keep getting closer and closer to home, but it still seems pretty far off. So I mean, it's a long, hard race, and I guess just thinking you're almost there, but still having quite a way to go.
I think with myself and our crew, we've talked about this as well. And like Sean said, the run into San Francisco was the big one, and everyone was really tired after that. But now when we look at the rest of the race, in terms of that physical time, it's still quite a long way to go. But then when we've counted the sailing days, I think we get more days in port than we actually do sailing now. But every time you go to sea, like the last time, that was 3 days, but that did feel like 6 days at sea. So it's definitely taking its toll, but you just got to support each other in the end, and we'll get there.
The new Clipper 70s were introduced for the first time in this race. How have you found the performance of these boats, and have they met your expectations?
Yeah, the 70s, I think we first started sailing on the 70s back in probably May properly, I think. And there's always worries with new boats, but I think they quickly proved themselves to be pretty reliable, pretty sturdy, pretty quick off the wind. I think most skippers would tell you they struggle upwind a little bit, but I mean, but all in all, they're robust, safe, generally quick boats, and I think, all in all, people are very pleased with them.
Yeah. Likewise, we had a couple of big storms, like Southern Ocean, and that was the testing ground. And I know for my boat, we came through with flying colours, and you guys had a fairly big knockdown and bounced back up straight away. So in terms of the safety of the boat, I think that's perfectly fine. They've proved themselves to be very quick off the wind, and being new boats, and also us trying to learn how to sail them, I think it really took half the race for us to start getting the most out of the boats. And with any boat, when you join a boat, it always takes about a year to really get comfortable with it. So by the time we're finished, we'll be semi-experts on these boats.
So we've seen a number of incidents throughout the race. How comforting is it to know that the other skippers and crews are out there with you, and how has your relationship with skippers progressed through the race?
I think all skippers came together properly for the first time last April, so that's been well over 9 months, I guess closer to 12 or so now, or maybe even more so. So I mean, we've been a pretty close-knit bunch since back then, but it's quite funny in the stopovers because different skippers have different programs, and some are busier in some stopovers, some on others. So even though we all know each other well, you get to spend different time with different people and in different stopovers. But certainly at sea, I think it was probably most apparent for us during our man overboard incident in the North Pacific that having 11 other boats and relatively close by is very comforting. I mean, luckily we were able to find and recover our casualty before we needed Ollie Cotterill on 1DLL to assist, but he was making his way, which in the back of your mind at the time was hugely comforting. I think there's several other examples of everything from water maker breakdowns to medic transfers, and yes, certainly having other boats nearby is a godsend at times.
Likewise for us, although we've spent our time by ourselves on 2 of the bigger ocean crossings, so we didn't have that comfort factor. But when you are with the fleet is very reassuring there, and the camaraderie between the skippers, like we email each other with a bit of banter, take the mickey out of each other and support each other at the same time when we're at sea as well, so it's pretty cool.
Tactically, do you both differ in your strategies, and how do they change between the longer ocean legs and the shorter inshore legs?
Geez, that's a tough question, because I know we all want to do the same thing to get the same result, and we all take different little ways to get there. I think with the long ones, you just got to break it down into chunks. You know, if you look at a 6,000 mile race and go, I'm going to win it, it's pretty unrealistic. You got to set yourself little goals and try and achieve them along the way, which then makes a big race into four small races. You know what I mean? It's just having the stamina to keep running those 4 small ones together.
Yeah. Tactically, it's getting much harder because all the boats are up to speed now. In the beginning, there was differences in boat speed and stuff, and you could choose your, more or less do rum line tactics, and if you're one of the quicker boats, you'd do well. But it doesn't really work like that anymore because everybody's up to speed now. So, on the other hand, you've got to look for an advantage with your strategy or tactics, but you don't want to go too far because you get left behind, or it's definitely become tougher as it's gone on.
The Clipper 70s, as you know, are kitted out with Harken hardware. Have you ever experienced Harken before, and would you recommend their products?
Yeah, I've used Harken on boats from dinghies up to super yachts, and never really had a problem. Been really good on the Clipper 70s, the package. I know we've got a guy who specialises in the winch. We've trained him up, and he keeps an eye on all that. I don't think we've really had any problems whatsoever. So it's pretty amazing that they can take that sort of punishment over the last 9 months, and still more or less being top working order. So pretty pleased.
I guess the hard thing to not really explain, but that kind of like path, I guess, to crews, especially novice crews, is that things do break at sea, and it's all about the maintenance of it. And I think if you take these winches, even the ones that have had barely any maintenance on them, for them still to be in the condition that they're working, it's a huge testament to Harken. So they're building a good product.